Hey, let's see what we got today. See if this is gonna work for us. Let's check the YouTubes. See if we get that stream going. Check the audio. Just gotta make sure everything's up and running. Yep, we've got audio. We've got video. We are good to go, which always feels good. Gotta be completely honest with you. Always feels good to get that first test out of the way. I hope you are doing well where you are. It's been a couple days. We've had some student work that's been kind of offline, almost more written responses. Great work. I really think Heather is really staying. One of the secrets I think about getting through any sort of educational experience is finding the balance between rushing through the material, because you don't want to do, if you, my belief and what I've seen, what I've personally experienced, so I see it from both sides as an instructor and as a student. If you rush through the material, your likelihood to retain it drops significantly. You can get the grades, but this isn't a great thing over here. This is more about what can you produce and put in a portfolio and then go out and execute on. And to do that, I need you to retain the information. So I'm less concerned with you rushing, but also, finding that, the real key is not to rush, but to find a steady pace that allows you to make progress. Once a week doesn't cut it. 7 days a week is too much. And what I think I've seen with Heather is just a steady pace. She'll take a day off here and there, not much though, but she's really cruising through the program. So that's just a case in point. If you're in the Discord channel, if you spend any time watching the feedback loops, you'll see certain people come up over and over again, and this morning's no different. So we have gone live in Couchbot, so I'm going to go ahead and go live here. We are technically live, but I always edit this part out in the final recording that goes up later. By the way, if you didn't realize that, all of these are archived onto YouTube under the feedback loop playlist. So, and I should start a 2021 playlist, because there are like several hundred feedback loops, and I guess the most it could be 300, but that's several. Anyway, there's hundreds of feedback loops from last year already in the platform, and oddly enough in 2019. So I may partition this out so that the 2021s are just a little easier to find. As the year goes on, that will get harder and harder, but they are reverse ordered, so the latest ones should always appear on top. But that said, we've ran our tests, everything's up and running, and we've got students here, so let's get this underway. Greetings one and all, Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It is time for the feedback loop. It is so good to have you along as we jump into talking about design work. And today we've got Heather, we've got Abby, we've got Abraham back, and we've got you. You're watching along with me. It's really good to. This is really our first loop of the week. A lot of the other student work that we've done, like it's hard to do a practice interview during feedback loop. That's we do those one-on-one sessions. And by the way, if you're looking for one-on-one mentorship, you should really talk to the students who are already here in the program. So let's take a moment to get this underway. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. All right, so we're going to start here with Heather, and as Heather pointed out, this is one thing I really advise doing anytime that you decide to put together a survey. And I must put the disclaimer right here on top. I should like flash something on the screen right now that says You should not use a survey for research specific purposes. And what I mean by that is a survey is not for data. A survey should be used to root out a particular direction, to find people to talk to. You can use it for a lot of things. What you shouldn't do is release a survey and say, here is my data, because surveys aren't good for that. Okay, surveys have so many ways they can create bad data, but they can also find people for you to talk to. And when you talk to a person, you're going to get a very high fidelity look at what's really going on, and that's great data. Okay, so while surveys can produce bad data, they can also be used as a tool to get to fantastic data. So I like surveys, but not the way that most people have. Most people have in their head that, oh, I'm going to send a survey out and now I've done user research. It's like, no, that's not how it works. So with this, Heather has put together a survey which is going to be used to find people to talk to. And, one of the things she points out is this is really hard. And in fact, it is. Because we never want to ask somebody to answer a question that if we've already gotten an answer from them, they say, nope, that doesn't apply to me, and then you ask them a question that they've already told you doesn't apply to them, that's immediate red flag for the person taking the survey. Oh, this person's not paying attention. They're just gonna keep asking me questions. I'm gonna nope out of this. So I'm borrowing the nope thing from Heather. So with that said, do you live with or teach any school age kindergarten through high school children? Currently, so yes, and is it elementary or secondary school? I think that's another way that kindergarten through high school. So anyway, yes, live with, yes, teach, no, section 6. So what she's doing here is kind of making notes of like where the piping for these questions go. And I've read through these just prior to the loop, just to kind of acclimate myself with the questions that are here. And what I think is the best thing to do at this point, because I didn't see anything that immediately stood out, but typically when you see them stand out, if you're taking the survey, is when you actually come over here and begin to dive into it in its actual form. So let's go ahead and look at this. So I think this should be, I am a student. I have children living at home. I have children. I'm a caregiver to children. I'm a teacher. And instead of the yes, 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 down here, none of these apply. But anyway, let's just go through here and say I'm a student. Next, what grades are they, you in? So this is an interesting question because they have the student taking the question, what grade are you in? If I'm in second grade, this shouldn't be a multiple choice. This should be like I can select all of these. I understand that you're thinking in terms of how you're thinking about this. You're thinking the student is answering for the household, and I really do believe that the student would be answering for themselves. So if you got like an 8th grader, what grade are you in? It would be fine. What grade are they? I don't see this as a scenario where it's going to apply to multiple people. And then down here, you actually correct it and you say, have you participated in remote learning? So in one, it's kind of vague, plural, singular, and the other it's singular. So I would just make it singular for the students. So when a student comes through, they say, hey, I'm in 3rd grade or whatever. So switch that to radio buttons instead of the multiple choice. Have you participated in remote learning at all during the pandemic? Yes. Yes, but also close, backup, etc. No, in school only. So let's say hybrid. Students remote learning. Okay, how well are you doing in school this year compared to last year? Um, grades about the same. Okay. How reliable? Do you have reliable internet access at home? Sometimes. It's interesting. We've got this clear selection now. That's new. Um, have you ever participated in free meals program? Nope. And are you experiencing any stress, anxiety, depression due to remote learning? I'm really glad to see you ask this question. A lot of people focus on, hey, how's school doing? How's school doing is always, how are your grades? Never, how do you feel? So I'm really glad. Yes, I think you'd have to be a robot if you didn't say that you're experiencing some distress. Um, your name optional. Maybe contact you in the future if so. Okay, I'm glad to see you simplified the survey contact information here. There's no if they're a student, there's no reason to ask for their, you know, although some of the demographic information might be useful. I'm just backing up because I want to go a different direction. I want to see if this is what happens with no in school only. Okay, so you just go straight to the end. What if we just said yes? That should probably take me to remote learning again. Okay, so we'll back up a little more. Make a little beep, beep, beep noise. Yes, live with. Caregivers, do you make or help make decisions regarding your child's schooling? No. What grades are they in? Now this makes sense. What grades are they in? Like, because I could conceivably have be across the board. Yes. Yeah, I'm guessing those will lead to the same place. How is your child doing this year compared to last? Um, I'm because this becomes the plural. Whoops. Because this becomes the plural, I wonder if because it could be how's your child, how are your children? Um, grades are better. You could technically have one student doing better than another one doing worse. So I might have another option here that says it varies. That way that if somebody is if it's just, even if a student is just kind of moving around, you've got that option there. Um, do you have reliable internet? So say sometimes. Oh, I gotta do that. Did your just pay? Yes, no. Stress, anxiety. Okay. 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 I might. Okay. I was interested. I thought there was some demographic information you were going to ask at the end. And the only reason I say that is because I saw it down here. Age, name, state, country. I think it would be helpful to know what state they're in, because you're focusing this on your region. So when you go to parse out who you're going to talk to, like if somebody answers this from Texas, it's not necessarily going to apply to where you're at. So just something to keep in mind there. Let's go to teach. What grades do you teach? Yeah, I could see some of this. I could see maybe needing the multiple selection because if they're in high school and they happen to teach ninth grade, or some of these like this is really middle school, but I've seen like my speaking firsthand, my daughter had a fifth grade math teacher that was also her sixth grade teacher, so I know they teach across some of these boundaries. So maybe going to multiple choice there. What percentage participate? Something like that. How were your grades worse? Grades about the same. Grades better. This would be another one where I might have it varies because there may be some people that are doing better and there may be some people doing worse. but this is an average, so it's far less specific than the parent one. How to Have you done any remote teaching since the pandemic began? Yes. What kind of formal? No, we've been in person only. Um, okay. Okay. So again, I would add at least the state, so you have an idea of where they're coming from. We do want to be able to we want to be able to parse that information out when you get the survey spreadsheet, because this will produce a spreadsheet, and you'll be able to see, like, okay, I want to talk to these three people, and location is going to be one of those considerations. So I would get that in there. I make those other. There's a couple of other adjustments that we pointed out, but I would make those, and I think overall this is in a good spot to ship. I do want to come back. I would give just a little more. You know, Hi there, my name is. We're doing research on how remote learning has how student teachers and parents are to see how student teachers and parents are dealing with remote learning during the pandemic. Your experience is extremely valuable to us as we attempt to improve the experience for everyone involved. Just something with a little more meat to it at the top, I think, would be like the last little cherry that I put there. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to Abby. And I know Abby has gotten Fresh Market, and I'm going to go ahead and hide some of my. I'm going to try to. Goodness. There we go. That was easier. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things that Abby has done. We'll migrate our way over here to Nourish. So Abby has been busy working on elevating the overall design here, and I can see that she's adding some flourishes here with the icons and like nice usage of the color palette. This is this is coming along here. I really like the simplification that you've done here to the cards. I do think that there's still a little bit of spacing work that can be done to really refine this. As I look from section to section, it seems like the spacing feels tight here, but it's loose down here. Let's come over here. That broccoli feels really nice. The icons down here, you're beginning to, like, the thing about iconography and whatnot is if you use it as a texture, it can create a really nice style. It can you begin to expect to see it as we move through. So the one thing I'll mention here, and this is always going to be something I'll bring up, is what happens when an error, somebody enters an invalid email. Does it go? I'm guessing maybe it goes right there next to the enter valid email. Because you could shove those in there. I would think underneath everything would have to kind of bounce. It wouldn't go off to the side. So just something to think about there. Oh, well, there it is. It's off to the side. Okay, well, at least, hey, whatever you've chosen to do, at least it's there. My main concern is that we've considered that. Okay, so FAQ. Look at this. Look at how the FAQ has changed. The FAQ when we last saw it was this very brittle design where she basically had some boxes, kind of like what we have here on subscription plans, but it was this information had no chance to grow, expand, do anything different. It had to fit in the box. And now you have now you've come through, you found a nice image, you've expanded the color palette, you made this accordion design, I mean, like, this is so much better than it was when we looked at it last week. And this is the thing that I said to Abby, and I'm saying it to you if you're watching this. Sometimes you have to give yourself permission to expand beyond just, hey, I'll put some boxes here. And this is very mobile friendly, for the record. Like, these would all collapse down very nicely. So I don't see a problem there. And it looks like you've designed. What's funny is, and I'm gonna get on. I'm bragging on you, and now I'm gonna get on you, because we talked about what am I testing, and, like, how far do you need to go with an idea? And here you've really expanded on the FAQ. Now, I don't think the FAQ requires a lot of work. Okay, so I don't, it's not like this is doing a ton. Although, what I will say is, because this is a expanding unit, these could all be, you don't need these pages. You could have done all this in a series of modals. But my bigger issue is, if you're not testing this, if you're not like, hey, how would you find out blank from the FAQ? Like, if the FAQ is not part of your testing plan, you don't need really much of this at all. You just need, like, the first page, and off you go. But it looks like you're going to be testing this, so that gets into the modal discussion. But I digress. It's way better than what it was. Okay, and so there's like levels to this. There's levels. There's like, okay, could this be more efficient? Yes. Is this visually significantly better than it was? The answer there is also yes. So you can't, you can make something really crappy really efficient. Okay, that's not the point. You've gone through and taken something that was, let's just admit, it was lackluster, and you gave yourself permission to say, I'm going to expand here, and then you expand it, and it's great. Okay, now we can go in and make it more efficient. But you got to tackle the visually stunning part first. And I think you've moved this from a place where it was a real weakness to a strength. Okay, and as somebody who has been talking to, I've been talking to people who are going through interviews right now, and they are running into, hey, your work's just not visually stunning. This puts you in a much better spot to avoid those questions than what I'm seeing in some other places. Okay, subscription plans. So sign up, check out. This is where I would make slight tweaks. Like, oh, hey, look, now the spacing is even. And I would look at a place like this and go, well. I would make these. This right now is too far away. It's closer to these than it is to these. I would move this down. I would tweak that line. I'll move the line back. Just line down a little bit. This down a little bit. This just minor tweaks. Okay, you're very close. Let's go ahead and zoom out here for a second. Okay, so 12 or 9. 12 or 9. This is the question that Abby has. So first of all, I like the fact that you've done something very, very cool here. All right, there's got to be a grid underneath this. Well, let's see here. I need to select this page so I can get to it. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So there's a grid underneath this. You're pretty close to it. You've measured in a little bit. That's okay though. This is where I would suggest broadening the gutters so that you can get into perfect alignment here. But I'm not gonna bang on that. Okay. I think that it's good where it's at. I would bang on it a little more over here because there's no grid here. I mean, there is a grid. You can see it. You applied it visually, but it doesn't align with anything. So I'm going to turn that off so I don't focus too much on that because I don't think that's going to do you any good. So there's this question of 12 or 9. So Abby, what would I do to sort this out? Well, on one hand, I do think that this comes down to how many dishes from a business perspective. Like, this is literally something I would go to my client and say, so, client, we have, how many dishes are you going to offer a week? Because it might be 4. It might be 7. We don't know. It's not necessarily going to be a nice 9 or 12 cleanly so it all lines up. So you've got to go ask that question. But if they said it's 9, then that solves it. Like you're probably not going to do the 4 and then 1 hanging out down below. So this is the design you go with. If they say 8, then that's a more interesting conversation because is it 4 across like this, or is it 2 rows of 3 and then 2, and then you just leave that one blank, or you put something in there saying look out for next week's menu. I do think that you get a lot out of the page showing it the way that it is, but this is a spot where I would consider doing one of two things. Either well, first of all, you got to know whether the client can support that or not. If they can, great, do the 12. Or if they, because what I don't think you want is like this going 3 and then another row down, although it wouldn't kill it either. But what I would do is I would make an A/B test out of this. I would do a preference test, and I would say, hey, which one of these do you like better? Throw it out to the community and get their feedback on, why do you like seeing 12? Why do you like seeing 9? Just go get a little feedback. But I like the overall design here. The aesthetic is nice. So again, what I will say here is that you have you might be going like the now the double row thing. That now you may be going just like one step too far. But you've got a real style that's establishing itself now. The color usage is pretty good. This has got to be like a confirmation. This spacing on the double line button is a little weird, so that's something to take a look at. Yeah, but overall, Abby, I really think that this is really strong work. It looks like you've also taken this. We talked about, can you do something visually stunning with the menu page? And I think that this is really getting into that space. Yeah, this is just lovely. Very nice. Now, the one thing I'll say here is I think there's a bit of work that needs to happen down here. I'm looking at this text. Can't tell how big that text is, but it's card info. That's 14. So that's not too bad. Maybe it's just the width. There just feels like there's a mountain of space between. So I know but based on what I'm seeing over here, it looks like you're still working on that. I like this overall, though. I like this overall. I'm gonna save this for later because I really feel like we've really dove into this. You've done an outstanding job. I know that you're still working on the prototype because when I go and look at the prototype, everything is still keyed down to the section that says ignore this, right? So I'm gonna ignore it. But overall, I really think you're crushing it. Just really nice work. Let's hop over to. Okay, so Abraham had a few questions here about thresholds. I would move these thresholds out, and I would like make a box here that says set threshold alert thresholds below, and then that would apply to all three. And then I would use this area here on thresholds to tell me how many alerts are currently set. 2 alerts currently set. No alerts set. No alerts set. So let me know if I've got any. Do I have any alerts set? And if I don't, this up here would tell me how to set them. And pulse limits, I just leave it. I think it's pretty strong overall. I do like the card design as well. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's edition of the Feedback Loop. Really, really, really good work, Heather, Abby, Abraham. Super excited to see this work moving forward. Abby, especially yours, like just lights out. You should feel really good about the effort that you've put in over the last week. This has gone a long way, and it's because you gave yourself permission. I like being able to brag on students, so right now I'm bragging on Abby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm meeting with many of you later today, so without further ado, I will see you later.